Hello, welcome to yoga practice. Thank you all for showing up on your mats. Let's get started. We're going to start off today in Balasana Child's Pose. You can always use a blanket to pad your knees, or you can fold over your mat. Use a little carpet if you didn't have an extra blanket around you. There's always something you can use. So just bring your knees nice and wide, big toes together. Rest your belly in between the thighs. And then just walk those hands out and just allow your head to rest on the floor, on your mat, or you can turn your head side to side if you'd like. Or you can even bring your chin forward, opening the shoulders a little more. And let's just begin by focusing in on our breath. Allow yourself to cultivate a really deep focus solely on your breath. Taking that breath in and out of the nose and across the throat. Warming the body from the inside out with a little ujjayi breath. Allow yourself to settle in and take a scan of your body. Notice how your body feels. Notice any fluctuations of your mind. And notice your breath. Continue working Ujjayi breath if you're familiar. And if you're new to Ujjayi breath, just begin working on it. Again, it's just in and out of the nose and across the throat. It's a little gliding across the glottis of the breath. So it becomes a wave-like sound. And then just start to elongate your exhale a little bit longer than the inhale. So even though we're going to be very muscularly strong and warm our bodies a bit, we want to relax our central nervous system. We never ever want to tax our central nervous system in yoga. Kind of the opposite of what we're trying to do here. And then when you're ready, go ahead and walk those hands out as far forward as they'll go. Just spread all 10 of your fingers nice and wide. Take that last little knuckle and claw the floor. And then just draw your belly in. So draw the belly button all the way into the spine. Make sure that you're not only taking the belly in, but you're drawing it up towards your sternum plate, towards your heart. And then with those nice strong arms, go ahead and lift the armpits up away from the floor, squeezing the shoulder blades onto the back, and feel like you're going to pull your mat towards your knees. Just really activating the upper back muscles. And then keep that nice firm foundation. Tuck the toes under, lift the hips high, and come on into downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. So, once you get into downward dog, you can start to walk everything out, You can bend a knee, press the heel down, bend the other knee, press the heel down. Just walk it out. Allow yourself a little opening. You can come onto the toes, bending the knees pretty deeply even. Feels pretty good. And then just lift the hips and push back, keeping the knees bent. Allowing your spine to grow nice and long. Keep those hands nice and strong. Keeping the weight out of the wrist. So the weight should be more forward in that four-finger thumb mound. And again, just walk it out a little bit. And then just come onto the toes, lift the hips higher a little bit more, and then pivot your heels towards the right side. And then just push back with your arms, pushing the hips back, getting a nice stretch down the left side body. Staying with that Ujjayi breath. And then come up on the toes, come back to center. Bend those knees again, pushing back, keeping the knees bent. Belly presses toward the thighs. keeping that belly nice and strong still. And then lift the heels, turn those heels to the left. Again, wrap the shoulders back and just push, get a nice sweet stretch all the way down the right side now. Getting into those obliques, maybe even a little into the lats. Just feel that nice elongation on the side body. And then come back onto those toes. One more time, bend those knees pretty deeply, push back, getting that activation in the upper body, stomach still nice and strong. And then just shift the body weight forward, pressing through the toe mounds, come on into plank, and then just press back, downward dog. You can round the back a little bit as you come into it, and then just melt the heart down. Look forward, shift forward, back into plank pose, squeezing the front of the thighs, making sure those shoulders, elbows, wrists stay nice and strong. And then exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Once again, press those heels down to your own degree. You can always keep the knees bent, no big deal. Just allow yourself to open up. One more time, shift forward, come into plank. Hold it, squeeze the front of the thighs, belly in and up. Exhale, downward dog. Go ahead and come back onto those toes, bend those knees pretty deeply. Keeping the knees bent, just come on into a nice, right onto your hands and your knees. I said into a nice, you know what I mean? Walk those hands back if you need to. You want to line up the shoulders, elbows, wrists, the belly is in and up. And then your knees should be right underneath the hips. For a lot of us, we push our hips past the knees. So if that happens, walk those hands back out. Get those hips further, just a little bit towards your hands away from the knees. And then tuck the toes under, pull the belly in and up, and just lift those knees up off the floor about an inch. Just hover. Find a lot of core strength here. Use that strong core. Keep pressing through the forefinger thumb mound to make sure you engage that serratus anterior. And then keep those knees bent and press the hips up and back. Again, a little turbo dog, some people call it. I just call it bent knee down dog. And then again, look forward, shift forward this time. Come right into that hover. Breathe, deep and free. Keep the breath, guys. If you let go of the breath, you're no longer practicing yoga. Keep those knees bent. Press the hips back, up. Bent knee down dog. One more time. Just look forward, shift forward. Right into that little hover. Find some strength here. And then drop the knees. Unleash your toes. Walk those hands right back. Once again on the hands and the knees. Go ahead and curl your spine like an angry cat. Draw the belly in, tuck the tailbone under. Chin comes into the chest. And then draw the shoulders on the back. Melt the heart toward the floor. Keep the arms straight. Let that tailbone untuck. You can stretch the throat even a little. Stretching the front of the belly. Exhale, curl, a little cat-cow. And then just come right back to a neutral spine. Walk those hands slightly forward from the shoulders once again. Keep those hands strong. Keep pressing through the forefinger thumb mound. You can always rotate the hands out a little bit. Wrap the shoulders on the back. Tuck the toes under. Lift the hips high. Once again, downward dog. Now some of you, if you've been practicing for a while, you probably need to go the opposite direction on opening the shoulders. So some people have really nice tight shoulders, and then some people have really nice open shoulders. And we don't really want to either. We want to find a good integrated practice. We want to protect our joints, allowing the muscles to be nice and supple and strong. So if you feel like your shoulders have become too open, a lot of times it kind of looks, you're just really dipping into the upper back. Chest maybe even goes a little too deep. So what you can work on is looking forward, bending the elbows out toward opposite sides of the room, dropping the head back down, and squeeze the elbows as if you were going to touch the elbows behind the head. Just really, you're opening the heart here, but you're finding that strong integration. Very difficult to hold for long periods of time. And then just keep that integration as you push back. So Instead of kind of wrapping the inner elbows forward, you're kind of almost going the opposite direction. Again, finding that sweet integration, taking care of the joints. And then for you, with your yoga, of course, you have to figure out which one feels good, which one works for you. Look up between the hands. Walk, step, jump, crawl, or float. Come to the front of the mat. Inhale, lift up, nice long spine. You can always use blocks if you want to use blocks, no big deal. Exhale, fold, dip on in. Once you get into a forward fold, you can rake the backs of the thighs, just kind of letting those muscles know, hey, we're trying to lengthen a little. Try to keep those hips forward. If you're new to keeping the hips forward, if they tend to want to go back too much, shift your body weight forward, draw the belly in and up, use blocks, keep the back of the neck nice and long, and just find a lovely Uttanasana. So anytime you're in a forward bend, you have those inner thighs pressing back and out. Keep drawing the belly in and up. Once again, keeping the back of the neck long. So if I look over to you guys, back up, if I'm looking over, don't do what I'm doing. I'm only doing it to make sure that you can see whatever's going on here. So again, shoulders on the back, belly strong. Front of the thighs have to be really strong. And then from here, just go ahead and bend the knees if you need to or not. Hands come to the waist. Keep the belly nice and tight. Inhale up. You can even sweep the arms up. Take a nice deep breath in. Hands in front of the heart, Samastitihi. Let's find Tadasana. So just check in with your feet about hip distance apart. Your 2, 2nd, 3rd toes can be about parallel. You want to squeeze the front of the thighs, lifting the kneecaps up, drawing the belly in and up, lengthening the tailbone, shoulders roll down the back, creating this nice, relaxed state across the neck and the shoulders, those traps. Take the palate back and up. It's going to lift the heart space up and relax the shoulders even more. Close your eyes and take a moment to just find your intention for your practice today, whatever it may be. Continuing with that Ujjayi breath. If you feel like you're rocking back and forth, and when you close your eyes, you can lift all 10 of your toes up. Feel those arches lift. So you should be rooting down through the feet and lifting up through the crown of the head. Like you're going in opposite directions, the spine growing very, very long. Find that intention. And then sweep those arms up and over the head. Nice. Deep breath in, reach up, nice and tall. Lengthen out. You can stretch a little side to side if that feels nice to you. Totally up to you. Exhale, fold forward. Again, Uttanasana, long spine. Inhale, lift up and lengthen. Exhale, walk, step, jump, crawl, or float. I'm going to show all the modifications. Those of you that know how to jump, you already know what you're doing. So I'm going to show the mods. All right, you can step your feet back, nice and slow. You can even drop the knees, coming into a modified plank. The knees should not be underneath the hips if you're doing a modified plank. You're going to kind of move forward a little bit. The hips move forward. You draw the belly in and up. Once you're in that plank, just kind of hold it, fire everything up, squeeze the front of the thighs. Again, you should feel the sensation, the inner thighs are pulling up, toward the ceiling, toward the sky. Squeeze the front of the thighs, keep pressing through the forefinger thumb out. And let's take our first chaturanga of the day. So for modified, you just drop the knees, shoulders remain on the back. You can come down, keep hugging the elbows in toward the waist, and then you never want to let the shoulders go below the elbows. And then from here, just drop the belly, keep those shoulders wrapping, and press up into a little baby cobra, no big deal. So you've got the legs engaged, all 10 of your toes are pointing straight back, they're not turning in, they're not flaring out. Keep pressing through the forefinger thumb out, draw the belly in and up, keep those shoulders away from the ears. And then if you're finding a lot of tension in the neck, just take the left ear to the left shoulder, right ear to right shoulder, should feel pretty good. And then exhale, bring your chin to the floor, tuck your toes under, push back to plank. So again, you can just kind of roll up like I did, leaving the knees on the floor, or you can push straight up into that full plank pose. And then come into downward facing dog. Stay with that breath. again, here to remind you, once the breath gets away from you, you're no longer practicing yoga asana, you know. You're just kind of working out. And there's nothing wrong with working out, but let's leave that for the workout part. Let's practice yoga today. Stay focused on your breath. Stay focused on your intention for your practice. Feel what's happening in the body. Look up between the hands, walk, step, jump, crawl, or float. So you, again, modifications, guys. You can take 40 tiny little steps walking forward. No big deal. You can bring the hands up to the thighs if you need to. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Shoulders on the back. Exhale, fold, dip in. This time the arms come by the rib cage. Squeeze the shoulders onto the back. Push to the soles of the feet. Lift up. Stretch up nice and tall. If you want it, you can take a little baby back bend. Exhale, fold forward. Once again, long spine. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Again, you can bring the hands to the thighs. You can use blocks, whatever feels good to you. Exhale, walk, step, jump, crawl, or float. Just going through a couple of Surya A's to warm up. Shift forward, squeeze the front of the thighs once again. Make sure that you're actually using those hands right through that four-finger thumb mound. Back of the neck stays nice and long. So you're just hovering in this plank, holding it. Again, you can modify, dropping the knees. Shoulders are going to remain on the back. Chaturanga. Don't let the shoulders go below the elbows. Come to the floor. Inhale, cover. So even when you go to the floor, you don't let those shoulders dump. And then this time again, same thing. Exhale, chin to floor. Don't let the shoulders dump. Push to plank. Squeeze everything tight. Find that downward dog. From here, look up between those hands. Walk, step, jump, crawl, or float. Again, take as many steps as you need, especially if you're new. Inhale, lift up, long spine. You can use blocks or not. Exhale, fold, dip in. Once again, arms by the rib cage, squeeze the shoulders back, push to the soles of the feet. Come on up, reach up nice and tall. Again, you can take a little baby back bend if it feels nice, pushing the hips forward a little bit. Exhale, fold forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, walk, step, jump, crawl, or float. Find plank, then chaturanga. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, chin to floor, push to plank. Squeeze tight, use those muscles, guys, downward facing dog. So once you get into your downward dog, take a few deep breaths, Ujjayi style. Make sure you're staying warm. So practicing in heat, it becomes very easy to warm the body. Please know that if you're at home and you don't have the heat, and even with heat right next to you like this, without me heating it up for a while before, it's not going to be as hot, and your muscles may not be as warm. You may not have kind of broke past the fascia yet, so that's okay. Just tune in to your body and know your limits. It's not a bad thing. Just know where you are. From here, once again, look up between those hands. Walk, step, jump, crawl, or float. Inhale, lift and lengthen, shoulders on the back, stomach tight. Exhale, fold it in. This time, inhale, lift and lengthen. Heel toe those feet out a little wider than hip distance apart. And then turn your toes out. Heels kind of curl in. Or not curl in, sorry. Draw them inward. So you're basically kind of duck-footed. And then keeping the belly nice and strong, just drop the hips down nice and low. And then just see if you can bring your elbows right in between your thighs, lifting the chest up, and just kind of find a little squat, a little malasana here. And look, if your heels don't rest on the floor, or you find too much pressure in the knees, simply lift the heels up. You can prop a blanket under them, or even blocks, or you can just hold them up, totally up to you. Try to lengthen the tailbone toward the floor. We're not looking for a scoop per se, but we just want to lengthen. Opening up the front body here, trying to lift the chest up, opening through the hips. And then use that posterior chain, guys. I want you to push the palms together strongly, use your arms, use your chest wall, and then push through the heels to come up. You can keep the little duck foot just a little bit. Reach those arms up toward the skies, take a little baby back. Bring those hands back together, right in front of the heart. And again, come right back into that Malasana. Push the elbows into the inner thighs, squeeze the shoulders back. Once again, push through the heels, use the posterior chain, lift up. You can take a baby back bend or not, totally up to you. Exhale, one more time, Malasana. Come into that nice, lovely squat. Last time. So from our garland pose this time, we're gonna push through the heels, we're gonna straighten up the spine, lift up nice and tall, heel toe the feet back into more of a Tadasana position. Exhale, fold forward, long spine. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, walk, step, jump, crawl or float. Once again, just walk the feet back. You can drop the knees, there's always modifications. Chaturanga. Inhale, cobra, upward dog. You can do a higher cobra or you can work into upward dog. Exhale, downward dog. Breathe deep and free, guys. So we're going to kind of open up our gastrocnemius, our calf muscles a little bit. It's so easy to do. So from your downward dog position, I'm going to do a little tuck in so I don't show you all any presence. So from your downward dog position, take your right leg and your big toe and your second toe, just wrap it around the back of your left heel. And then just push back with your arms, drawing the shoulders on the back, keeping that nice integration. And just gently, keyword, glide the big toe and second toe of the right foot right down the back of that left ankle. And as you press back, you should feel a really nice, sweet stretch down that Achilles tendon even maybe into that calf muscle. Keeping the belly strong. And then just switch sides. So the right foot comes down. Take the left big toe and second toe, wrap it around the back of the ankle, and just gently glide it down. It's really just kind of your body giving it a guide, like, hey, we want to lengthen right here. So you're not squeezing with the toes or anything of that nature. It's just like a gliding motion. And then take the left foot back down, hip distance apart for your downward dog. Keeping those heels pressing straight down and back, not turning in or out. Inner thighs pressing back and up. They're back towards, behind you, and then out toward opposite sides of the room and up. And then just from here, look forward, shift forward, come back into that lovely plank. This time, drop your knees, drop your left forearm down, drop your right forearm down. We're going to come into a nice little modified forearm plank here. So once you get there, just check in. If your hips are too far back and you've kind of dumped the belly, I want you to shift forward a little more. So you may have to take the knees back, depending on where you are on your mat, right? Pull the belly in and up. And then if you're ready, when you're ready, tuck the toes, lift the legs, coming into, literally, a forearm plank. And then bring your toes and heels together, keeping your shoulders, elbows, and wrists right where they are. Don't let them move, no matter what. This is kind of a twist here, guys. So the toes come together, the upper body stays planted, and just rotate onto the outer edge of the right foot. We're going to work those obliques, filling the core. Work nice and strong. Keep the back of the neck long. Keep those shoulders drawing in. Come back to center on those toes. Belly in and up, front of the thighs nice and strong. Toes and heels together. Rotate over to the left outer edge of the foot. Keep lifting up through the hips. Keep those obliques working. Breathe. Come back onto the toes. Squeeze the front of the thighs. Drop the knees. Walk back up to the left hand, back up to the right hand. Again, come into that full plank. Come into downward dog. Belly nice and strong, in and up. Breathe deep and free. Look up between the hands, walk, step, jump, crawl, or float. Inhale, lift up, long spine. Exhale, fold, dip it. Bring your toes and heels together, squeeze your inner thighs nice and tight, sweep the chest up and off the thighs, sitting down into the thighs. Pull the knees back, pull the butt back, draw the belly in and up, and lift the chest up. Use your core. Keep the shoulders wrapping so there's space between the biceps and the head. And then exhale, fold forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, walk, step, jump, crawl, or float. Find that plank. Chaturanga. Again, you can modify with me. Inhale, cobra, or you can do chaturanga and straight into upward dog. Exhale, downward dog. So if you're going into chaturanga into upward dog, you do not want to bring the chin back down to the floor. You just want to go straight to downward dog because you can put too much weight in your rotators. The rest of you guys, if you're working into that cobra, just keep those shoulders above the elbows, and you can bring that chin back down to the floor, just putting a little more straight. Look up between those hands, step the right foot forward, and then come really high onto the left toe. Make sure the right knee is second, third toe alignment. It's not winging out to the left. It's not caving into the right. Push through that right heel. Use that posterior chain once again, and then sink a little lower into the hips. Just notice how you feel. Like if the legs straighten out a little, rebend it. Come high onto those left toes. Pull the belly off the thigh. Allow the hips to square up. So right hip pulls back without pulling the knee. Left hip pulls forward and come on into a nice little crescent pose. Open up. Draw the back ribs in and up. Get that upper back to open. Fire up the left leg. Exhale, hands down. Right leg back. Down slow. Again, I'm trying to show modifications here. Inhale, cobra or upward dog. Exhale, downward dog. High on the right toes, left foot comes forward. Push through the left heel, left hip back, right hip forward, high on the right toes. Really squeeze and firm up that right leg. Left knee, again, same thing. Don't let it wing out. Put my hands down so I don't fall and hurt myself. But I'm actually gonna put my right knee down too. If the left knee wings out, you got some nice loose hips, but you need to fire up that outer thigh. So you wanna get that lateral that thigh working here. So hug it in, come onto the right toes, lift it back up if you drop down with me, and then come into that crescent pose. Fire up the right leg, left hip back, right hip forward, squeeze. Again, back ribs in and up, open up. Exhale, hands down, lift leg back. Don't drag it, down slow. Inhale, cobra, upward dog. Exhale, downward dog. Shoulders wrapping, belly firm, heels pressing to your own degree. Look up between the hands, walk, step, jump, crawl, or float. Inhale, lift and lengthen, shoulders back. Exhale, fold, dip on in. So hang here in a forward bend for just a moment before we move on. Just notice how you feel. You're going to check in with the hamstrings, make sure you're not dipping into those lovely attachments between the buttocks and the hamstrings. You want to get into the belly of the hamstring. So some of us have to move a little forward more. From here, inhale, lengthen out a little bit. Hands come to the waist. Push the soles of the feet, come on up. Once again, up to standing. Reach those arms up nice and high. You can even take the head back and just kind of lengthen out to the side waist. Once again, head comes into neutral, hands in front of the heart, Samasthiti. Shoulders on the back. Lengthen the tailbone. Refine your focus. Check in with the breath. Notice if it's still deep and free, even if it quickens. Notice if you're still focused on how you feel, as opposed to what you think you may or may not look like. And then sweep the arms back up over the head, deep breath in.
From here, exhale, fold forward. You can use blocks here. Remember, you can use books stacked as blocks, totally no big deal. I want you to engage through the legs, inner thighs, press back and out. And I want you to firm up your left leg, very strong, and lift up the right leg. So if you look back at your right big toe, it should point straight down. Right inner thighs lifting up toward the ceiling. You've got this nice engagement through the glute all the way through the heel. So not only in the extended leg or the standing leg, both, right? It's not either or, but it's both. So the right leg kind of wants to get lazy. So you have to push, press through those metatarsals, press through the heel. Keep the belly nice and firm. And if you feel good here, let's just open up into Ardha Chandrasana. So you can use a block or not. You want to take the left hand down to the floor, pinky toe side, about a foot out. Now, if you're working on balance, the further out you go to the pinky, off the pinky toe side, the more help of balance you're going to have, and you can just look straight down at the floor. If you're starting to work a little more intense balance, you can start to line it up like a tightrope, left hand in front of the left foot. Start to open up the right hip, right on top of the left, float the right arm up, and find a little Ardha Chandrasana. See if you can spread your toes, engage through the left leg, squeeze the left thigh, open to the chest, press through the metatarsals, breathe. And then slowly, methodically, come back around, right hip in line with left. Once again, press through the metatarsals, inhale, lift the right leg up, find that squeeze. Exhale, just float the right leg down, lengthen out a little, and then those of you that want it, you can dip on in. Again, I'm showing modifications here. Those of you that want it, fold forward. When you're ready, inhale, lift and lengthen. Firm up the right leg, squeeze those thighs, literally lift the quadricep muscles up, pulling the kneecaps up, strengthening them, and lift up the left leg. So once you get the left leg up, check in once again. You don't want to hike up the hip. You can look back and see the left big toe pointing straight down. So if you're newer to this, I'm going to show you a different modification on the side. You can keep the left big toe right there on the floor. So if you're just kind of like, really want to do this yoga, I really want to work some strength, you can stay right here. Guys, you can stay here for a long time and still gain strength. So really focus on the standing leg, engaging, keeping the hips and the pelvis stable, and drawing the belly in and up. That would be your focus with the foot on the floor. And then if you want to work on Ardha Chandrasana, you can stay here. But if you want to work half moon with the modification, keep the block underneath your right hand, firm up the right leg, start to open up the hip. So as a beginner, it's helpful if you push the right hip a little forward toward the left side of the room. So I just fell over, sorry. I had to think about my right and left. So you want to push the hip forward toward the left side of the room. And then, again, you can just kind of keep the hand on the waist and stay here as modification. Those of you that are not modifying, just open it up. Get hip on top of hips, spread through the toes. Lift the left arm up, stacking left shoulder right on top of right. Belly firm, breathe. And then when you're ready, come back around. Nice and slow. Inhale, lift the left leg up, firm it up, squeeze. Exhale, left foot down next to right. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, fold, dip on it. From here, lift and lengthen once again. Hands come to the waist, push to the feet, inhale up. Again, sweep those arms up and over the head. Deep breath in. Exhale, fold forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, walk, step, jump, crawl, or float. Find plank. Chaturanga. Inhale, Cobra, Bhujangasana, or Urdhva. Exhale, chin to floor, push to plank, downward dog. So I'm going to have to shorten the class. I can tell that my cough is coming back. I was kind of afraid of that. So what I'm going to do is get you guys just kind of stretched out a little more. Get you into Shavasana, allow you to let go. So we've done some back bends, we've done some forward bends. Did a little bit of standing, not too much two leg standing, so let's work that. Look up between the hands, step the right foot forward. Turn the left toes forward. So now you have the right heel drawing a straight line to the instep of the left foot. You can use a block, you can even use a chair. And I want you to crush the block with your hand if you're using a block, or you can even take the fingertips to the floor. Engage through your legs. Once again, find that Tadasana, so root through the feet. Strongly, you can lift up the toes, making sure that you can find that rooting. Again, crush the block with the right hand. Float the left chest open, the rib cage open. Float the left arm up. Find a little Trikonasana. Firm up those legs. And then you can play around with the pelvis here. So if you've been working on triangle for a while, you can kind of draw the right hip back, right? So that crease right there where the thigh and the hip meet, you can pull it back. Let the left hip drop down a little bit, but then firm up, lengthen the tailbone, draw the belly in and up, and then float the arm right back up. And you'll just find these little subtleties if you continue to work that. You can take your drishti, your gaze right up toward the left thumb, where you can always look straight down at your right great toe. From here, draw the belly in and up. Feel like you're pushing your heels away from one another to just pull yourself right up. You can bring the block with you if you're using a block. Turn the right toes in. Turn the left toes out. My sincere apologies, guys, that I'm getting a little froggy now. Arms up. So this time we're going to come into it a little differently. We're going to let that left hip drop down and descend, down and back. Reach strongly with the left arm. I'm killing my plant. So basically you're looking to have this equal distance from the hip to the armpit on both sides of the body. So we don't want to crash and burn in the left side of the body. And then you can, again, you can use the block. You know, you can use a chair, but I want you to crush the block with the hand. So allow the right hip to drop down and forward a little. Let the left hip crease pull back without creating tension in the front of the hip flexor. See if you can lift up all 10 of your toes, lifting the arches, and then rotate the right chest open, float the right arm up. Find a little Trikonasana on the other side. You can take that drishti, that gaze, right up toward the right thumb. And typically we have our fingers pointing forward with the left hand. If you're wanting to work your shoulders open a little more, if you're feeling a little tight, you can rotate the left thumb forward, and that's going to help open up the chest and the shoulder. And then once again, turn your gaze toward your left big toe. Feel like you're going to push the heels away from one another to pop up. Bring the hands to the waist. Turn the left toes in. So you got this nice wide leg stance. Inhale, lift your chest up. Exhale, fold forward. Once again, try not to push your hips too far back. You want to keep those hips forward. And then just, you know, you can even feel like you're going to fall forward when you first start to practice that way. But it's going to get you into the belly of the hamstring. Another little trick you can do is lift the heels up. Shift the body weight forward a little bit more. Soften the knees. And just press one knee back at a time without dropping the heel. Hopefully you can still hear me. Getting into the belly of the hamstring. And then I want you to drop the heels whenever you're ready, if you're ready, and continuously walk the arms forward. So it's almost like a really wide leg downward dog. The hands are going to be about shoulder distance apart, but without letting those hips push behind the heels. Keep the belly firm. Just let yourself open up here. Take a couple of deep breaths. And then when you're ready, turn those toes out, turning the heels in a little bit. I want you to sit down strongly. Sink, 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 sink. And then, to your own degree, paying very close attention to your knees, right? Start to shimmy, shimmy. I call it inchworming, the feet back forward. To your own degree. So you're trying not to lift the hips up when you do it, because I want you to really pay attention to the knees. Keep the knees tracking the ankles. And then really push the floor away from you for a moment as you sink the hips down, trying to get those thighs parallel to the floor. Digging into those hips in a nice, lovely way, opening up. And then from there, I want you to squeeze the shoulders back, keep the belly strong, and just once again, sink a little lower. If you have the room.
And then slowly lift the hips, shift the body weight forward again.
And you can do this a couple of different ways. You can turn the right toes and just helicopter around, walking the hands around either side of the right foot. Or you can pop yourself up and just jump forward, totally no big deal. Inhale, you can lengthen out, you've got a nice soft bend in the knee. Push through that right heel to bring that left foot in. Feet are parallel. Inhale, lengthen out, shoulders on the back. Exhale, fold, dip in. Go ahead and take those feet a little wider than hip distance once more. Squeeze the shoulders onto the back. Roll the left shoulder back. Roll the right shoulder back. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. And then just dip in, guys, to your own degree. Allowing yourself to have this really nice chest opening. Squeeze the front of the thighs. Don't forget that. Allow yourself to open up the chest. Back of the neck. Nice and long. Just breathe. And then when you're ready, go ahead and unclasp. Make sure you've got that weight shifted forward. I always tend to dump backwards in that one. And when you get that weight shifted forward, draw the belly in. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Shoulders on the back once again. Hands come to the waist so your feet are still a little wider than hip distance apart. Pull yourself up with your strong core. Sweep those arms up and over the head. Nice deep breath. Hands can move the heart space. Heel toe, those feet back together. Once you get the feet back together, sink into your seat, refine Utkatasana. One last flow. Before I start coughing and sounding really gross. Exhale, fold forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, walk, step, jump, crawl or float. Find plank. Down slow. Inhale, cobra. I forgot, I'm modifying. Exhale, chin to floor, push to plank. Downward dog. High on the left toes. Right foot comes forward. Push to the right heel. Sweep on up. Nice little crescent. Firm up the left leg. Dip in. Find a back bend here. Should feel pretty good. Exhale, hands down. Either side of the foot, pop onto that right leg. Lift the left leg up. Bend the left knee behind the right. Curl, curtsy, bringing the forehead to the knee. And then push to the right heel, extend the left leg out. Soften the right knee just enough to replant that left foot. Coming right back into that crescent pose. Sink a little low, find that little baby back bend. Exhale, hands down, either side of the foot. Right leg back, don't drag it, down slow. Shoulders remain above the elbows. Inhale, cobra, melt the heart. Exhale, downward dog. High on the right, left foot forward. Push through the left heel. Again, square it up. Find that nice, strong integration that you found at the beginning of the class. Fire it up. Take the little baby back bend if you're able. There you go. Hands to either side of the foot. Push through that left heel. Lift up the right leg. Pull the belly in and up. Lift it up a little. Exhale, right knee behind the left. Bend the knees. Curl it in. Curtsy, head to the knees. Inhale, extend, press to the right heel. Soften the left knee. Drop the right toes. Refine. Crescent pose. Breathe. Exhale, hands down. Other side, left leg back. Chaturanga. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, chin to floor. Push to plank. Downward dog. So once you find that downward dog, just settle in. Notice how it feels. Drop to your knees, just shift the body weight forward. Cross your feet behind you. Allow the hips to drop behind the heels, extending the legs out in front of you. If you have a block, you can use a block. You won't necessarily need it, but if you have one, you can use it. Go ahead and come to laying on the back. The way I like to do this is to kind of use your hands and just come down to the elbows, forearms, and then keeping the belly nice and firm, roll yourself down. Again, showing all the modifications I can remember to show you guys. Sorry, my memory's shot. So you've got a block, if you have one. Once you guys, with the feet hip distance apart, you're gonna come into a lovely little bridge pose. So feet are hip distance apart, knees are hip distance apart. You wanna plant that pelvis. You wanna draw the belly in and up. So you should feel this energy pulling in and up. Uddiyana Bandha, so you literally upward flying sensation here. Palms are gonna face up. I want you to literally push through the heels, squeeze the shoulders on the back. So kind of, before you even come into it, you're already opening up through your chest, through your upper back. So that way we don't just dump everything in the lower back. Keep the belly drawing in and up. And when you're ready, engage through that posterior chain. Once again, push through the heels, lifting the hips up. And then, the tendency is the knees want to splay out. So don't allow that to happen. And this is where the block can come in handy. So if you have a block, you can always place it in between your thighs to give you that good gauge of where to squeeze, okay? So again, if you're in it to win it, you're just holding it, right? You're in it to win it. So push through the soles of the feet, but not just straight up. So we have a tendency to just come into this little kind of flat line. So I want you to use the heels, push up, and then push the chest toward the chin. Not the chin to the chest, but the chest toward the chin. And then if you have the room, you can do a couple things. You can come into your robot arms here. You can squeeze the shoulders underneath you even more. Or you can clasp your hands behind you, or underneath you and behind you, I guess, and press the outer edges of those pinkies, the blades, into the floor. Maintain the natural curve of your neck. Push to the heels, pressing the chest forward toward the chin a little more. Find a lovely bridge pose. Setu Bandhasana. And then slowly, find the robot arms again. Gently, one little vertebra at a time, come down to the floor. Get those shoulders out from underneath you and just rest. Back of the neck nice and long. On this next one, we're going to go into, I really hope my voice hangs on. We can do this together. So feet are hip distance apart, same thing. We're going to go right back to where we came. So set it up, squeeze the shoulders underneath you. Press into the backs of the arms, those tricep muscles, to get that chest to open. So when I say robot arms, you're going to use the triceps to push that chest open. Start to push through the heels, lift the hips. Again, you can reconnect. Some people like to grab your heels. That's too much compression on my knees. Feel free to do that if you'd like. And then if you feel good here, everything feels nice and strong, and you want to unclasp, you want to refine the robot, really find that nice opening across the chest. See if you can take, keeping the upper back as your source here. You're not putting pressure on the neck. You can take those hands and you can face the fingertips toward the shoulders, or you can face them out a little bit, depending on your opening in your shoulders. And then just push to those heels. You can walk the feet in a little bit, come on top of the crown of the hat. Hug the arm bones into the shoulder sockets. You can readjust the hands if you need to. And then just push up. Really press that chest forward. Get this really sweet opening across the whole front body. Stretching those serratus anterior muscles that you work so hard in your chaturangas. Breathe. And then of course when you're coming out of it, come to the upper back. So you drop down to the upper back, never back onto the top of the head. And then just, allow yourself to rest. So the whole spine is on the floor, the knees can stay bent. And then go ahead and take those feet a little wider than the hips and drop your knees towards one another. And then once the knees are toward one another, let them just drop to the left. Little windshield wiper, nice and slow though, guys. Super mindful, gentle, slow-mo movement. Drop the knees to the right. Just back and forth. And you can take your head the opposite direction of the knees. And you can flow it right into with your breath. Starting to just kind of slow it down. And then just come back to a nice neutral position. You can heel toe those feet back in. You can just slide the heels out, squeeze the shoulders on the back, and come right into Shavasana. Close your eyes. Allow yourself to surrender into the floor underneath you. Whole body. Upper, middle, and lower back. Allow your belly to rise and fall in tune with the breath. Allow your entire body to surrender fully into Mother Nature's arms, right into the earth. There is literally not a single muscle that needs to hold on right this moment. So let it go. There's nothing that needs to hold on. Allow every muscle, every bone, every ligament and tendon, allow the skin of the body to become soft and supple. Allow any lines in the skin to completely dissolve. Feel as if your skin is made of a silken cloth. Allow your heart rate to return to normal. Allow your blood pressure to return to normal. Find perfect stillness in this moment, right here, right now. From resonate with stillness. Swami Muktananda says, your will is very strong. It has a lot of power. If you do not want to do something, then don't do it. If you do not want to think about something, do not think about it. Continue to put forth self-effort. Fill yourself with positive feelings. Think well. Pray to God. Think well. Namaste. last piece.